It's kind of unusual to have the NDP leader going across talking about good things from a Liberal government budget. So why is it that you felt the need to come out and talk about things like dental care, for example, that were in this budget?
We wanted people to know, one, that it's available, that it's going to be there for them. And for a lot of people, it gives them hope. For folks that have not been able to look after their teeth, who've been living in pain, we're letting them know that this is going to come by the end of this year. If you're a senior, children 18 and under, are going to, and people living with disabilities are going to be able to look after their teeth. And it's something that would not have happened but for the fact that New Democrats forced the government to do it. So it is unique in that it's in a budget, but it's something that we fought for, and we can point to when the Liberals voted against this very same plan just 2 years ago, and now we made it happen because of our agreement where we wrote it in black and white in our agreement.
Yeah, because you've got kind of a unique situation where, you know, there are Liberal MPs for this province who are going around and promoting the fact that this is in the budget and saying, hey, look, we're delivering for you. At the same time, the NDP is saying, hold on a second, this is our thing. So I guess where does the credit lie on this?
Well, on this one is really clear because we've got some really good evidence. We can show that this exact same plan we presented twice in Parliament 2 years ago, and each time the Liberals and the Conservatives voted against it. And now, when we force the government with an agreement where we put it into writing, it's happening. We can show really clearly that this would never have happened but for the fact we forced them to do it. So on this one, it's pretty clear. And sometimes it's hard to prove when things happen and how they happen. This one we can show really concretely. We made this agreement happen and we forced the government to deliver.
I want to ask you a bit about the NDP in this province. In the last election, the seat that was held by Jack Harris, who was an NDP MP for quite a few years, went Liberal. So you don't have any MPs anymore. What do you need to do to convince Newfoundlanders and Labradorians that the NDP is an option and to elect someone from your party in the next election?
Yeah, I think we have to show Newfoundlanders and Labradorians the benefit of voting New Democrat. What do you get out of it? Well, we can show them really concretely. You voted for folks that voted for us in the 2019 and 2021 election knew that our campaign ran on bringing in dental care. Well, now, even though we're not in government, we made it happen. So we deliver results, and we can show that.
One of the issues, though, in this province is we are an oil and gas producer. There are lots of people whose jobs are tied to that industry, either locally or perhaps flying back and forth to Alberta. How much, though, does it hurt you with your position on pushing that transition away from oil and gas in a province where a lot of people still rely on those oil and gas jobs for their income?
Well, I would say first and foremost, we are a workers' party. So we believe in making sure workers are protected and looked after. We know that the reality is, and workers feel this on the ground, that there is a certain shift that's happening because of the climate crisis, because of the changing global markets and different decisions that companies are making, that we need to be ahead of the curve to make sure we've got good jobs here for the long term. So we're absolutely going to need the workers in the short term, but those workers deserve to know that there's a plan that creates a job for them forever, for a long time. And we know that the only way we can do that is if we make the right investments. So that's why, for example, when we said we want to see investments in some of the future technologies and future jobs here in Newfoundland and Labrador and across the country, we want to make sure those investments are tied to good wages and good jobs. And that's something that we can do as New Democrats. So to those workers that work in the oil and gas sector, we need you, you're important, but we also want to make sure that you've got a job that's not just secure for the next couple of years, but we want to make sure you've got jobs for the next 20, 30, 40 years. How do we do that? With the right investments.
But I guess the issue is, how much does government kind of force the end of that industry? And I think there's a lot of people who feel like even the Liberals right now are doing too much to try and, you know, end oil and gas exploration, development, things that could lead to more projects and that industry to be viable for longer.
Well, I would look at it like what is in the best interest of the worker. And if we know that there's a lot of volatility in this market, there's been a lot of busts and booms, I think workers require and deserve to know there's some stability. When we know that all the major car manufacturers are moving towards electric vehicles, we need to see the writing on the wall and make sure we're making investments where we don't miss out on those new opportunities and those new jobs. So I want to make sure that government does the job it is supposed to do. Look at the future. Where is the world headed? Where are economies headed? And where are opportunities being set up, and make sure that we're not missing out on those opportunities. It's less that we want to direct where things go versus we know where things are going, and we need to make sure that we're prepared for it and the workers are prepared for it.
Well, Jagmeet Singh, thanks so much for coming in.
My pleasure. Thank you.